Hey guys, it's Ted Bogert with the TED Show. Yes, I know a lot of you have commented it's a little late for a TED Show, but it's really early for my wonderful guest, Linda Duong, who is in Australia. It's like 8 a.m. there. So I like to accommodate. We did good, and she's been amazing, and I'm very excited to get people to get to know you, Linda, and for people to know who you are. You have such a fantastic energy, and your writing is amazing. I just think you are overall just a fantastic human being. So we always like to have fantastic human beings on here. So welcome to the TED Show.
Thank you, Ted. Thank you so much for having me on. Hello, everybody. Greetings from Sydney, Australia, the place where the koalas are always eating and sleeping. It's the happiest place to be. And it suits my quote well. My quote is happiness is another form of wealth. It's your
Yes, I
most
loved
treasured
that.
form of wealth.
I
Yes.
loved everything about your website, which I tagged a lot. Your website is scrolling at the bottom. When
Right.
we share the show, we will be sharing the link to Linda's author page, and we've already shared the Three Hearts page. So you all will absolutely be able to reach out to her, and I know you're going to love her message. So let's get to it. We love origin story here because you obviously weren't born and all of a sudden you're an author. So we like to know the journey of who you are and kind of how you got on this path.
Yeah, so I was born at the end of the Vietnam War. And so I'm going to take you back in time. Okay. You can close your eyes and imagine a blank world. Very primitive, I call it the black and white world, right? Because when I was born, right, after the end of the Vietnam War, all I've seen was black and white TV, black and white photos. That's how ancient it was. Sometimes when I talk to the kids, like my children's friends, I feel like I'm from the dinosaur age.
Me too.
So that's all I've seen. And I did not even know what a computer looked like. That was how minimal my world was,
Wow.
minimal resources, minimal education, everything was minimal. Unlike the kids these days, on the fingertips, they have information worldwide. If
Everything.
they want to hear what Mongolians, is like, want to hear their language, even or the food they eat, all they have to do is just type on YouTube and they're there. So it was really, really minimal. And that's my world. That's how I was born into. And so then, so just imagine, yeah, not even know what a computer looked like. Yeah. So then suddenly at the age of 15, I was teleported to Sydney, Australia. It was like, whoa,
A whole new world for you.
a whole new world, completely different from east to west, completely different color, vibrance. I never been in a car before.
Wow.
And everywhere I go, I had to travel in the car. It was a huge shock. Everything shock, system shock, cultural shock, everything shock.
I love
So
it.
that's the beginning of my life pretty much. But that's also the beginning of my search for happiness at the age of 15. And it was also at the age of 15 in a school ground. Well, I barely speak English. I was still trying to fit in, finding my ground, fitting into the new country, new world. That's where I formed my foundations for my happiness. And I lived it for the 40 something years, 30 years, and finally written it.
I
Tested
know
in
you
my own
wrote a
life
book. You
and
wrote a book.
finally written it to share with the world. Now, just before I forget, because I tend to forget, I get so excited sharing, talking. If everybody wants to get a free introductory chapter on my website, you can get it there. And also during the pandemic, I have reduced the price on Amazon right down to $1 so that everybody can get it. I
Wow.
was supposed to put it back on 01 July, but I have more people request, so I've delayed it until 15 July. There you go.
So I want to talk. I love this topic. I
Yeah,
mean, I love talking about connection.
yeah,
I'm a connector. I love
I know.
people. I love, though, the way that you framed it, the currency to happiness.
Yes,
So
yes.
15, I don't know if I really could spell anything at 15. So the fact that
Well, I
you,
couldn't.
the fact, well, that's true. But the fact that you knew that early
Yeah.
on that you were looking for it and you figured out what it was is amazing. So let's talk about that. Was there a specific instant that happened, or did you just go, look, I've got to make connections, and then it just took off from there?
Well, it wasn't an instant as such. It was that moment, as in that period of my life, that I so needed to look for my happiness. I came from a different world, as you could imagine, right? So if you could just imagine, I take you now to a far, far land beyond China, like even beyond Asia, because Vietnam, China, now it's open up, right? I'm
Right.
talking about beyond there, right? And you go back to a whole complete black and white world, completely different. Like, how would you feel? You know, that was me, but in a complete different direction. So it was a lot more overwhelming for me, right? Um, so I didn't have friends. I couldn't even speak the language. It's almost like it's hard to function, right? Because you can't even speak the language to go
Sure.
by. And I never got in the car before. And I had extreme motion sickness, which means I couldn't even get on the bus. So for a whole long period, I would walk to school. I refused to get on the bus. I walk a whole hour long,
Wow.
rain, hail, sunshine, whatever. One day I get to school, I was soaking wet from head to toe, but I still would not get on the bus because I was that uncomfortable.
Wow.
Um, so I was looking for my happiness, right? You know, I was really looking for my happiness. And I just wish that although my reading skill, my language skill was minimal at the time, still I wish there's a book or something, a guide, you know, to help me find my happiness. And even though my parents were amazing, but don't forget we all going through the same journey.
Sure.
And it was super tough for them because they were already in their retirement age. So therefore it was more difficult for them to switch the change
Right.
as compared to my age. So I couldn't turn to them exactly at that point in time, not in a functionality way, if you know what I mean. Like, you know,
Yes,
I
I
could
do.
turn to them spiritually, emotionally, mentally, but not in terms of practical way. How can I go on with my life like
Well, you had
everybody
to
is
do your
doing?
own journey, right? You had to figure it out. Also, different generations. So their advice might
Exactly.
be sage, but you had to figure it out based on where you were at in time and what was going on. And
Exactly.
so, yeah,
Exactly.
that's, I think that people, I love connection, but I think that people struggle with it. I think that people in general think they've made connections, but they aren't, in my opinion, true connections. And so people are hungry, still continue to be hungry for connection because I don't think they really make one that's solid. So in the book, do you talk about how people can make connections, what some of the good steps are, what some of the, tell us a little
Abs-
bit about that? Because I think I had questions before we went live.
sure.
A couple of people said they were shy and they really weren't good at connecting, but they wanted to be better.
Cool, excellent. That's me. I still am a shy by nature. I mean, I'm excited now because I love connecting with people and I love sharing my story. But me by nature, I'm a really shy person, really timid. Growing up, I barely speak much, so I share a lot in the book. It's pretty much my whole life journey. Um, so I was really shy. I was really extremely nervous. So I barely speak because I'm second last of the 10 kids. You know, the
Wow.
packing order.
Wow. Yeah.
Especially in the
You didn't
Eastern
get to
culture,
speak
you
much.
don't get to speak. But more so for me, my older siblings are very protective, right? So I didn't need to talk much, right? So I was really, really shy. I mean, even now, if I go to a large party, I can still be really shy by nature, you know. It's only because I'm invited to share my story, so I gotta come out and share. But by nature, I'm quite shy. So just kept taking a step back. So back then, when I come here, I didn't have anything. So I was desperate, so-called, looking for my happiness. I just wish that there's a book for me that helped me to find my happiness. But at the time, I couldn't read much, right? And so any book that I pick about happiness, this is like some 35 years ago, it would be written by the academias, spiritual
Right.
gurus. I couldn't read it at the age of 15. And don't forget, 15 now is a lot more advanced than the 15 before.
Right.
So this is the book that I couldn't find. So it's written in the everyday language that is easy for
And
anybody
so
to
what do
understand.
people do? What if people are shy, what are some of the
Yeah.
steps they can take? What are some of the give them some maybe some concrete things because I think they're all looking for happiness too.
Sure. Good.
And I
Yeah.
believe you're
We
right. The
all are.
connection is the currency to happiness. I
Yeah.
like it. But
Yeah.
what can somebody do? What can somebody who's shy, um, who doesn't even have you aren't at the disadvantage that you were from a language perspective, can go out and do to break through to get to that currency?
So there's a few things that I did, and I hope that, excuse me, I hope it works for everybody because but it worked for me. So being shy, there's a misconception that in order to connect with people or to talk to people, you've got to be loud, you've got to be an extrovert as such. I don't find it to be true. I don't find it to be true for my journey. You just got to be yourself. I cannot speak more of it. Really, you can just be yourself. Why? When we pretend to be somebody, we're never comfortable. You know, till this day, even though I've been on shows that has more than 1 million viewers, I still say I'm shy by nature. But in the book, I explain the deeper definition about shy. It's not exactly what we think, right? But as for conversation for now, to answer the question quickly, because otherwise we'll go for hours and we only have a short amount of time. So from my experience, it is not true that you've got to be outspoken or extrovert in order to connect with people. So cast that away. That's number one. Number
Love it.
two, just be yourself, meaning if you're shy and you feel timid or too overwhelmed to speak to a loud person, don't force yourself because it doesn't work. It just doesn't work. Don't force yourself to look like confident or to look loud or big like other people because we're not them, right?
Correct.
Or if you're a loud person and you feel like you have problem connecting, don't buy into certain format in order to connect. You don't have to be any style format to connect. You just gotta be you. You just gotta be
Yes.
you. What does that mean? It means that if I'm not quite excited now, like I am, because I'm on a show with you and I love connecting with people. But if you're not in an excited mode, you don't have to make yourself. You can just be you at that moment. Just sit there and be, right? If you're comfortable with yourself, people will just come. Don't feel that you
Yes, that's
always
so
have to
true.
make the move. Make the move if you feel comfortable, if you feel invited, meaning I not invited like by somebody else. I'm not talking about being passive, but I'm talking about invited feeling from inside out. If you
Yes.
feel invited, naturally when you go to other people, you're more like this. you're
Right.
just more you're just more excited, you're more warm towards them, you're more comfortable. Otherwise you're gonna go like this, I gotta go up, and then you're just not comfortable.
People
When
are
if you
so afraid, right? I think people are, what you're saying, I see it a lot when we used to be out and network. I hope that comes back sooner than later at some point. But I
Yes.
feel like there are people who are just, they're so nervous and get so worked up because they've got this idea in their head of how they need to be instead of, like you said, being themselves. I like to go to a networking event, sit at the bar, and wait. That's
so
me.
so
But I think
exactly,
other
excuse me.
people, why not if that's your people? You said it perfectly. People are going to find you if you're putting out that authentic self. And
So if you feel like you want to be proactive because you're in that mood, that mode, that feel of energy, then go be the initiator because everyone would appreciate that, right? Nobody
right,
wants to go into a room that everyone's all quiet, right? So if
correct.
you feel like if you feel like taking this step, by all means, But if you happen to be on a day that I am not excited today, I'm a little bit, a little bit low energy. I just want to sit a bit. It's okay. Allow yourself. Give
Yes,
yourself that permission. You got to be at a meeting. It's okay. Just sit and keep a gentle smile because that's always inviting. But of course, don't sit there and sulk unless you have to, right? And there are times, right? Even if you're in a public, if you have to cry, give yourself the permission.
agreed.
As long as not offending anybody, as long as not invading anybody's space, your own space, your own self. If you are in a moment, things happen. What if suddenly I receive a news that my mother passed away? Like it happened
Right.
at work, right?
Correct.
Do I have to pretend? Do I have to pretend to be, I'm happy because the biggest, worst thing happened in my life? I'm allowed to cry if I have to, right? As long as we're not imposing on other people, as long as we're not affecting other people, if you know what I mean, as long as we contain in our own space, our own self,
I
if I
love.
have to cry, I will cry. And if people care, they will come. If
That's
people feel
correct.
like lending a hand and an ear, they will come. If not, it's fine until you feel composed, until you feel okay. Then you take your little steps and extend it to whoever you feel comfortable with. But don't ever feel yourself have to go and do the show as such.
Yes. I also
Yes.
think people, just talking about networking, and then I have a question.
Yeah,
I
sure.
think people are, my pet peeve at network, at connecting,
Yes.
is when somebody immediately tries to shove an agenda down my throat without
Yeah.
getting to know me. And I think that people, because they don't know how to build a true connection,
Yeah.
that's what they believe connecting and networking is. Here's my business card, Ted. La 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 la. I do all of this. And they haven't even asked me how I am. You're gonna buy me a drink after this? Like this, like I don't understand. But people get so caught up and that's what they need to do because that to them is connecting. And so
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people feel that their circle, whatever that is comprised of, is all connections. Well, perhaps, but my definition of connections goes deeper because I've explored it deeper. And I think a lot of people don't. It's so surface that when they're out trying to connect, which is why I think a lot of people aren't happy, which is why I love this topic. They're not truly connected.
So here's the thing. Here's the thing. There is a slight difference, but actually huge impact, huge difference. When you go networking, the term says it, right? It's just network. You're trying to weed through as many people as possible. But
Yes.
is it truly connecting? Is it truly connection? So that's the biggest difference. So there are a lot of times, depends on what kind of event I go to. On some event, because I always value quality over quantity.
Me too.
Because you could go to a network and collect 50 cards and then you go back and go who's who. You can't remember who's who,
I
right?
know.
And you nothing eventuate from there anyway. Whereas if you go and you focus on quality, you might meet only fewer people, but those one or two connections eventuate into collaborations or something else, or referral or whatever, or meaningful friendship or colleagues in terms of business. I find it is still much better than collecting 50 cards and just don't know who's who, if you know what I mean.
I think a
That
lot
that
of people
that's
do
my
that.
view anyway,
I do the same thing. I'm terrible
Yeah,
at events. I don't like business cards. So I started using the QR code on my phone. That seems to
right,
be better.
right.
But there are challenges at these events because I go like you do, and it doesn't have to be network, a connecting event. I like that so much better.
Yes,
I'm going to make a meaningful connection or
yes,
to solidify a connection that I might have made at the
yes,
last time we were at
yes,
a network
yes,
meeting, a
yes,
network event. And I think
yes.
people go in and they feel like they have to throw as much against the wall to see what sticks, but then there's no real bonding, there's no real connection, and then they wonder why their business isn't where it needs to be, their personal life isn't where it needs to be. They're just not happy, I think.
Yeah. So with the connection, we go at a deeper level. at a deeper level than just the business card, than just the talk of the night. You know, the goal is to build a true connection so that you can take things to a higher level, whether it's to build a friendship, whether it's to build a collaboration, affiliates, client relationship, you know, well, that's how I work anyway. And I find that it's a lot more productive in the long term rather than, I'm sure it depends on your goal, right? If the goal is just to collect contacts to add to your email list, then that's a different goal, right?
Right.
Yes, yeah.
Where do you think vulnerability falls in to the authenticity? I have people that say, Ted, you just share everything. And I try to
Yeah.
be 100% transparent,
Yes.
but I have no problem being vulnerable. For me, vulnerability allows the connection to go deeper, but people are afraid of the perception of how they'll look or how people will treat them if they share a part of them where they're showing vulnerability, especially
Yeah.
out in the business world. Do you think vulnerability is important when it comes to the authenticity and the connection?
I am so glad you mentioned that word. That's such a big word, right? It's been embraced by a lot of people, but at the same time, it's challenging a lot of people. So in the
Yes.
book, I explain on that word a little bit. So if you look in a dictionary, that word opens up a wound kind of, you know, and so I'll go a bit deeper in the book. So I don't dwell too much on that word. I believe in connecting authentically, and that means that we allow ourselves to be who we are, right? And when you allow yourself to be who you are, you know yourself. You know your limits. You know your boundary. You know where you want to go. You know how much you want to share. You and I both value transparency, and that's why we're connecting so well, right?
Yes.
But everybody has a journey. Everybody has their own pathways. So we cannot expect everybody to be the same, right? Some
Correct.
people are comfortable to go to the beach with bikini. Some people are not. So we cannot expect everybody to be the same.
Yes. Very
Whereas
good.
that word expects everybody to go, you know, open your heart out for me so that I can come in. But not everybody's ready, you see. And not everybody,
Awesome.
even everybody opens up, but we might open up little, 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 and then we gradually go. Whereas that word expect everybody to go boom, open the door wide. And so that's a bit of a lot of resistance there and a bit of a fright there. You know, how can I do that? Like I can't do that, right?
Right.
So therefore, I think we have to use that word carefully. I know that word's been promoted a lot, and everyone is really trying to promote that. I explained a lot more detail in the book, but I think if I could invite everybody to embrace the word being authentically yourself, being comfortable in your own skin. So in that way, you don't feel so exposing. You don't feel so invading that people want to get to you like right away
Right.
now. So then you feel a bit more protected. You feel a bit more safe, and you feel that you're allowed to go at your own pace. Like I don't have to open my door wide when I'm not ready, you know,
Right.
and I don't know who you are yet, right? I gotta know
Correct.
who you are before I invite you to my door. And then maybe when you come, I only invite you into my lounge room. Maybe next time in the kitchen.
Progress,
Maybe
right?
next
You're
time
making
in my
you're
game
making
room.
progress. You're
Yes,
you're
yes,
you're not. I think you're absolutely right. People, I love the word vulnerable because I am and I'm there. Not
yes.
everyone's there, and that's not everyone's
Exactly.
comfort zone. When you said wear a
Exactly.
bikini, all I could think about was wearing a Speedo, and I was like, heck no, never gonna happen. So that was a great analogy because honestly, what's comfortable for me isn't comfortable for you. And so we have
Exactly.
to stop putting expectations on ourselves that the same way Linda connects isn't the same way Ted connects or the same way John or Jane connect. But we
Exactly.
compare ourselves because of social media, and I think that that can be such a challenge. But what are you finding when people are reading the book? I know that people are hungry for a connection and they're hungry to be happy.
Yes.
It's got to be a light bulb moment for some people that those two go hand in hand.
Yeah. So happiness comes through connection. So my title of the book is Connection is Your Currency to Happiness. And while we're saying that, it's not exactly like what people think, like just go to networking, get lots of contacts and for business. That is one way. That is in terms of business, but does that happiness last forever? I don't think so. What I try to share with everyone from my journey, from what I've discovered, is that we need the true human connection for us to be happy. And while I'm talking about human connection, while I'm talking about me connecting with you, we connecting with audience, or we connecting with other people, one crucial element is reconnecting with ourselves.
Yeah.
When we are not connecting with ourselves, it doesn't matter how many people around us. It doesn't matter how big the party is. Have you ever go to a party and then you feel like so alone, even though there's a whole room full of people, right?
Yes.
So that is the most crucial element, is that we need to learn to connect with ourselves in order for us to truly feel the inner joy and inner happiness. So in the book, I explain there's external layers of happiness and there's internal layers of happiness. And we need both. We
We
need
need
both.
both, right?
We need both. Yes.
All right. So we have lots of people who want to know about connection, but I want to leave them hanging a little bit since we're running out of time. What is the best way that they can reach you, can get your book? I mean, I know people want to connect with you. You're so open. And I've never had anybody on who's put those two together, even though in my mind, I've always believed that connection and happiness are just, for me personally, interrelated. How can people reach you, Linda? What's the best way?
Yeah, well, like I said, you can sign up on my website to get the introductory chapter, get the book on Amazon, reach to me on Facebook. I'm on Facebook a lot more than LinkedIn or Twitter. I'm on everywhere. Instagram, Twitter, but I'm not really there, if you know what I mean. I
Yes.
have an account there, but just on Facebook. On Facebook, I've got my Linda Authors page, Link Coachings page, and my personal page, and Three Hearts. Three Hearts, just very quickly before you go.
Yes,
Three Hearts
please.
is an extension of the book. So the underlining message of the book is Three Hearts. So we're friends on Facebook. You see me sign with Three Hearts all the time. Heart number one is love and connection for ourselves. And heart number two is love and connection with each other. And heart number three is love and connection with the whole universe.
Love
That's
it.
the message of the book.
Three
Yeah,
hearts. Okay, I love this. All right, so
yeah.
Linda's gonna tag it. I'm gonna tag the author page, the Three Hearts page, the coaching page. Make sure I've got it all in there. Linda will respond to your comments as she sees them, and I love it. I would love for us to maybe do a series on happiness and connection. Maybe
We would,
teach that.
yes.
Because I think people, again, especially now that we have been separated and we're going back into a world of sort of connection, but everybody's in a different place and a mindset, that maybe connection is different now, and maybe people need to learn. They want to figure out how to maneuver through it in this new normal that we
Yes,
have. So
I would love to do that. I would love to be able to do that with you. And
wonderful.
with the Three Hearts, it's a non-profit organization at the moment. We're trying to help to create a more connected society. We have ambassadors all around the world to help do that. So get in touch if you want to find out more. And I'd
You're
love to come back
absolutely
on the show
amazing.
with you, Ted.
You're amazing. Your energy's amazing. There's love and passion and support and compassion. And I think we need more of Linda Duong and what she has to say, because you're awesome. Thank you so much for getting up early. That would be early for me, 8 a.m. In all the way in Sydney, Australia, but it was worth it for all of us. Thank you so much for being on the
Thank
show.
you, thank you. And if you read the book, please share a review on Amazon, on Goodreads. And if you'd like to be on my connection show, I would love to have you on. So I have
I
started the connection show for all
I
my
love it.
readers to come up to come on the show to share three things. What inspired them to read the book? What's their favorite chapter or story? And what actions they've taken to transform their career, their life, and the lives of others. And it's been so fun. It's been so exciting. And the whole inspiration was out of COVID-19 because we all just want to share more love and connection.
We
So if you read
do.
the book, like me on the show, get in touch.
Fantastic. All right, Linda Duong, thank you so much. You
Thank
guys have a great
you.
evening. We'll be back later this week. Reach out to Linda, get the book, read it, read that first chapter. If you're not sure, trust me, at the end of it, you're going to absolutely love it and you're going to want the whole book. Thank you, Linda, so much from
Thank
Down Under. We
you.
appreciate you. We'll see you guys
Thank
later.
you.
Bye,
Bye.
everybody.
Bye.
Mwah.